let's talk about nuclear energy. It's one of the cleanest, most efficient sources of power we have ever created. It's available pretty much anywhere on Earth, 24/7, but, and this is a huge but, it comes with this one enormous, almost unthinkable problem.
And I mean, just how clean are we talking? Well, look at this. For 1 kilowatt hour of energy, you get just 12 grams of CO2 from a nuclear plant. To picture that, it's like maybe 3 soda bottles worth. Now, coal, for the same amount of energy, it pumps out 120 grams. That's a whole bathtub full of CO2. So yeah, from a carbon standpoint, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, if it's that good, what's the catch, right? There's always a catch. What's the one giant nagging problem that we just can't seem to figure out?
All right, let's dig into the real problem with nuclear power. And here's the thing. It's probably not what you're thinking. When you hear nuclear danger, your mind goes to one place. But the biggest issue, it's something else entirely. And look, don't get me wrong. We absolutely have to talk about the meltdowns. Chernobyl in '86, Fukushima in 2011. I mean, these were utter catastrophes. We're talking about lives lost, hundreds of thousands of people forced from their homes, and economic damage in the hundreds of billions. They were horrific, no question. But they aren't the central day-in, day-out problem. And that's what brings us to the real heart of the matter. The biggest, most stubborn problem with nuclear energy isn't the risk of a disaster. It's the stuff that's created every single day, even when everything is running perfectly. It's the waste. So now we're getting into what makes this so difficult. We've created this forever toxic legacy. And now we have to figure out how to store something that stays dangerous for a length of time that our brains literally can't comprehend. Just let this number sink in. 100,000 years. That's how long it takes for spent nuclear fuel to become even remotely safe. 100,000 years at a minimum.
And to try and wrap your head around that number, just look at this. The entire Roman Empire, that was only 2,000 years ago. All of written human history, barely 5,000 years. This waste, it's going to be dangerous long after our languages are forgotten, our cities are turned to dust. I mean, it will outlast literally everything we know.
So you ask, what are we doing with this forever stuff right now? Well, believe it or not, every single piece of it is in what we call temporary storage. Yeah, most of it is just sitting in giant swimming pools inside the power plants. The catch? Those pools need constant electricity to keep the water cool. If that power cuts out, the water boils away, and all that radiation gets released. That's exactly what almost happened at Fukushima. It was a terrifyingly close call. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is a glimmer of hope. A real, actual, long-term solution being built right now. Up in Finland, they're building the world's first permanent solution. They're literally engineering a tomb to last for an eternity. And here it is. It's called Onkalo. It's this incredible, massive facility, a deep geological repository, and they're tunneling it 1,500 feet straight down into solid bedrock. And they picked this spot for a very good reason. It's one of the most stable places on Earth. No earthquakes, no tsunamis, it's geologically silent. The plan itself is actually pretty simple, which is what makes it so smart. You dig these massive tunnels deep underground. Then you drill holes into the tunnel floor. You lower these super tough casks of waste into the holes. And then you just backfill the whole place with a special clay and seal it up. Forever. The whole point is to put it so far out of reach that it never ever needs a human to look after it again. Okay, so the engineering problem, solved. Pretty amazing, right? But this is where the story gets really wild. Because in solving this massive technical challenge, we've uncovered an even trickier one. A problem that has nothing to do with rocks or radiation. The problem is us. Human nature. Just think about the pyramids in Egypt. They were built to be the ultimate sealed tombs, right? Permanent, untouched resting places. So, what did we do? We broke in. Our curiosity was just too strong. So how on earth do we stop some future civilization from doing the exact same thing with Onkalo, a place that holds something way, way deadlier than any mummy's curse? This is the question that keeps people up at night. How do you leave a warning for the distant future? Experts at the U.S. Department of Energy actually tried to write one, and what they came up with is just chilling. It says, "This place is not a place of honor. What is here was dangerous and repulsive to us. This message is a warning about danger." This whole challenge has actually created a brand new field of study. It's called nuclear semiotics, and its entire job is to answer one question. How do you communicate extreme danger, stay away, across tens of thousands of years to people who won't speak our languages or understand a single one of our symbols?
And the ideas they've come up with are straight out of science fiction. I mean, step one is the easy part. Write the warning in every language we have today. But then it gets weird. They've talked about building a landscape of thorns, these giant, jagged, hostile spikes sticking out of the ground to make the place feel unwelcoming. Or what about massive stone monoliths, covered in pictograms that try to tell the story of what's buried below?
Maybe the most powerful idea, though, is this one: creating a truly universal symbol of danger. Something like this: an image of a human face twisted in absolute agony. The hope is that it communicates a primal sense of fear and pain, a message that says whatever you find here brings a slow, painful death. But here's the crazy part. Even with all these clever, terrifying ideas, you're left with one final, mind-bending question, and it might be impossible to answer. Should we even leave a warning at all?
And that's the ultimate dilemma. It's a choice between two terrible options. Option A, you mark the site. You build the scary spikes and carve the screaming faces. But does that just scream, hey, super important treasure buried here? Does it just attract the curious? Or there's option B. You just forget it, seal it up, make it look like nothing was ever there, and just hope. Hope that no one ever finds it by accident.
There's just no good answer here, which leaves us with this incredible, profound question to think about. How do we leave a warning that outlasts our entire civilization for a future that might not even be human? It's a problem we made for ourselves, and it's a legacy that is literally going to outlive us all.